Hello? Okay.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We are live here. We always come on a minute or so early just to make sure everything's working. So we'll be tinkering around here for a second. If you are watching this after the fact, feel free to skip ahead about 2 minutes. We'll see you very soon.
Cool.
I can just look at you, just sitting there.
Yeah. There we go. All right, guys, so if you're just now coming in, just so you know, we got a couple more minutes, maybe like another minute or two. We just decided we'd get on a little bit earlier than waiting until the exact time to make sure everything's working, and it looks like everything is working. It's funny, that little lag time.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Cool. So we'll be able to see all the comments and stuff right there?
Yep, yep.
Nice. Cool.
Just gonna make sure it's working. There's no one on yet.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Cool.
All right, guys, one more time, if you guys are coming in right now and just seeing it, we're just getting ready to get started right now. It's now just about 11:30, so we're going to be starting here in just a couple seconds. We're just making sure all of the links are done properly so that everyone can get here
There we go.
in the easiest way. Everything looks good? Yeah, there
Good.
we go.
Hey, what's up, guys? Good to see you all. Wait about a minute or so and let people kind of hop on, and we are just starting. Hey, if you guys can hook us up here, can you let us know how the audio sounds? Does it sound okay? Can you hear me?
And can you hear me as well when I'm speaking? Because the way we have it set is kind of a little bit further away from each of us. So let us know how the audio is. If the audio is good for both of us, you can hear us both equally. I'm sure it is. We just want to make sure that you guys can hear us before we get into it and we start.
Check
It's hard to hear you. Shirley said. Sounds good. I can hear both of you. The audio is perfect. Sounds awesome.
Beautiful.
A little echoey. Audio is great. Sounds great. Yes, I can hear you both. Sound is
Cool.
fine. Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, listen. Let me get you guys up on my phone so I can see everybody.
All right.
Okay. Courageous Consciousness, what's up? Misfit Awakening, Empress, Pira, Rod, Laura, Natasha, Empress, Laura, Kelly. So many of you here. It's a pleasure to have you here. It's very exciting. Me and Aaron here are very excited to be doing this.
Yes, we are.
And it's funny, before we started this, we would always talk about this stuff, and people, all like the passers-by, would always kind of give us these looks like, what are you guys talking about? Because we just love to talk about this stuff. So now it's so neat to have an audience that we can really coach and teach and sort of just share what it is we do and how we do it with other people that are very eager to learn. So it's a really neat sort of situation for us. So what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and give you kind of a rundown of what to expect with these live coaching sessions. So essentially, if we have any announcements, we'll get those out of the way right away. And then we'll go into a little bit of a talk that based on already what I've seen just interacting with you guys for a little while on Facebook, there's like a sort of a little message I would have for all of you collectively, some advice I think that might benefit you. Aaron has something to say as well. This time we're going to do a bit of a workshop, and we're going to kind of work with you on helping you guys all find a niche. I know that can be a tricky thing. You can kick my cat's here. You can you can kind of push them away. It can be tricky finding your niche. It was, I know for me, very stressful. So we're going to try to have you guys all walk away feeling comfortable with a niche. You shouldn't go beyond today wondering what your niche is. You'll have it figured out, and then the fun begins. Then you can start sharing. And then beyond that, we'll just answer your guys' questions. We have a lot of people that submitted them previously. And then, of course, at any time, you can go ahead and ask a question right here, and we'll scroll through and answer those. And that's kind of how it is.
Yeah. So, and the key to this live is being able to know our niche and at least having the strategy for how to find your niche. By the end of this, you will either know your niche or know exactly what to do to figure out what your niche is. Now, another announcement that we have for you guys is from this point going forward, once a month, what we're going to be doing is picking one of your that you guys request that you would like us to evaluate your channels, to evaluate your business, to evaluate your funnels, any aspect of your business. What we're going to begin doing is doing channel evaluations once a month. So that's a new bonus that we think you'll get a ton of value out of. We're excited to do that and to really help, because then when we record them as well, you're going to be able to see how we're going to be showing you what you do well, and then also the points of where you could improve it, which will help you convert better, which will help you make more money or grow your audience more. And you'll be able to learn from how we're showing and how we would tweak little things and what we've learned over 3 or 4 years of doing this. And sometimes it's the littlest amount of difference that can make all of everything easier. So we're going to be doing a channel evaluation every single month. Have we decided how they will?
No, we'll let you guys know.
We'll figure that out.
Like an effective way of you guys sort of, signing up to see if it's you. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah,
we're going to be doing that very soon. And we'll let you know how exactly.
Yeah, and let us know too if is that something you guys would like to see us do? And if we see a whole bunch of interaction from it, maybe we'll see of ways of integrating it in different ways as well. So let us know if that's something you guys are interested in when it comes to the channel evaluation. But yeah, that's another announcement that we wanted to let you know about as well. So.
Okay, and then there's one other one, and right once we get into month 2, there's going to be some new material on the membership website. We're going to continue to coach you. The live session will be more like working with you and answering questions, so you guys don't feel stuck. But a lot of the stuff we want to teach you, it's better that you can see the screen share, as you guys see a lot of our tutorial videos are. So each month there'll be new material released. So this next month we're going to talk about how to build a lead magnet, what is a lead magnet, and how to essentially use it to start building your email list. We won't get into too much right now, but it's something very important, something I started doing right off the bat. That was one of the things I did right from the get-go, was building an email list, because it's where most of your income is going to come from. And a lot of people, they're on YouTube or on your blog to read or to learn. They're not there to buy. But when you build an email list, it's a targeted list of people who have a much higher likelihood of being customers. But there's a way of going about that. We're going to teach you how to start building that list with a lead magnet, which essentially is you giving something of value away for free in exchange for an email. But there's a lot to it, and we're not going to spend today going into it. I just want to let you guys know that pretty soon that will be available on the website.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess, Aaron, if you want, I had something I wanted to kind of share with you guys, a little message about just finding your niche and also overcoming the nerves associated with putting yourself out there. And then Aaron has something he wanted to say as well. Did you want to start? Or do you want me to?
Yeah, no, I'll go and start. Okay. Yeah, so what I wanted to share today is something that you may have heard us say a couple times, but it really, I think, is underemphasized in general. Now, if you're here, you're most likely somebody that's a much more highly conscious person. So you have a desire to help other people, and you have this understanding of value. But really, when it comes to this whole business of being in this type of business as making content, the underlying philosophy, when you understand that this is about the value you can give to other people, even if that value is an emotion, like some people might be like, oh, well, I'm passionate about, making entertainment videos. Well, that's great, because that still adds value. But when you have it from this frame that I am adding value, what it does is that translates into a level of authenticity that people can feel. Now, when it comes to the adding the value, that is the philosophy from which this whole underlying thread of communication should be. Every video that you do should have some type, especially if you're in some type of awakening niche or healing niche or helping other people niche, you want to think of in terms of what benefit that could give the people that watch. And like I said, even if it's an entertainment type thing where you're making people laugh, or it's some type of comedy, know that. You don't have to be thinking about it the whole time, because obviously if you're creative about some type of comedy you make or some type of entertainment with music, you can be aware of that. But what you want to do is you want to also have an underlying knowing that it at some level is adding value. And when you put yourself in what they call this in business is a customer avatar. A customer avatar is when you imagine who your target audience is. And you want to imagine, this also makes it easier for understanding how to make it so it's easy for you to present information in front of the camera. Because when I'm talking to the camera, I don't just think that I'm talking to a camera right now. I understand that there's a whole bunch of people that want to hear what I have to say or that I can add value to. So there's this level of almost like the energy just kind of comes through. It makes it so that the energy just flows in a much more easy way. So the key to this is knowing and having a picture of what that kind of person may be, maybe what their interests are, what they do for a living, just a general overview of what what's called a customer avatar is, because you want to know that there is someone else on the other end. It's not just a camera you're speaking to, it's someone else. So when you view it as that, and you can almost then, in a way, imagine that there's someone behind the camera that you're speaking to, you can start to connect to the camera in a different way and to the people you're speaking to in a new way. So the reason I say this is because the key to this whole thing is the adding the value. This is something, if you guys have ever heard of Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk is more in the personal development niche, and he very much preaches work hard, work hard, work hard. But nonetheless, it's a philosophy that works because literally what you put out is what you get back. So if you add value to other people and you solve their problems, money is a byproduct of that, because if you can solve their problems, then what happens if maybe you have a course, maybe you have some type of service that you're providing them, and it's solving their problem, they're going to be more willing to give you that money because you've already given them value in exchange. So this is something that trickles down from the content in general, from the content that you create, the YouTube videos, the blog posts, the social media posts, and you want to just know that when you have this authentic intention to add value to other people, people feel it, but also it's also like a universal thing. What you put out is what you get back. Put out the positive energy with the intention of adding value and putting that underneath the content you make, and you'll find that it does come back to you. So that's the philosophy, but also the practical way that we can go about adding value to other people, so that then this is something that grows and grows and grows. So that's kind of what I wanted to share with this process, is adding value. That's the mentality, and when you have that, everything else falls into place anyways. You don't have to worry about that stuff because it will fall into place, especially when that value is tied to something that you're passionate about.
Awesome, awesome. That is so true, and I think oftentimes overlooked.
Yeah.
Is like just that state of mind or being you proceed from. It allows you to really draw from like your highest self and be kind of heart-centered. And as he said, you get to express yourself in a way that people will really resonate with and connect with, because they can feel you genuinely want to help them. And oftentimes when there's a lot of nerves and stuff, that underlying intention can get kind of muddled. So I know Aaron's very big on that because it's so important. So what I would want to talk about with you guys is just based on what I've seen in a lot of the comments pertaining to in the Facebook group, having to do with like struggling to find your niche and struggling to get over the nerves to put yourself out there or consistently. Sometimes you can put up a video, one or two, and then it's like the next day you're frozen, you can't do it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So the niche is an interesting thing. It's because you guys, anyone on here is like a creative, dynamic, expressive, like complex person. So when we say you got to fit yourself in a little itty bitty niche, one little box, it's like, I have all these interests. It's hard, right? I drove myself nuts with the niche. So I'm gonna try to like give you guys a few tips that I would have told my younger self. That's my avatar, by the way. I always speak to my younger self in my YouTube videos. One of them is this: stop obsessing about it. Stop thinking about it. You won't find the clarity of your niche, of your role, your purpose, your mission, based on a bunch of like trial and error in your mind. It's something you will just sort of come into naturally as you gain experience doing it. Number two is to start expressing. Get out of the headspace of needing to figure it out, which I can understand. We tell you to, so there's a contradiction here going on. But step back, because as you know, when you're in your headspace, trying to find your niche, weighing out the pros and cons, seeing what box you fit into, there's like a mental tension. There's a constriction of your natural dynamic creative energy. But you need to like switch your role and get re-excited about sharing stuff you love and know about. And the niche will sort of define itself as you go forth. As I always share, I used to have 5 YouTube channels because I was neurotic. I was like, I'm gonna pick 5 boxes and see which one works. You know which one worked? My personal channel. Because that was a channel I was able to come alive with. I had no expectations or goals. I just was sharing from my own just blunt heart space, and miraculously that was what got all this attention. And that's kind of what you see now. The Victor Oda YouTube channel is my personal page. But I would have never really known that if I spent all day trying to figure out my niche. It only came through experimentation and expressing. So start trying things. Allow yourself to have fun experimenting without that need to find it now. And ironically, that's how you will find it. And then lastly, you got to be kind of somewhat calculated, judge the feedback. I had a fitness YouTube channel with almost 100 videos and like 200 subscribers. That's not that great. I was not getting very good feedback. My Victor Odo channel that finally took off, I started getting a lot of comments where I could tell people were genuinely like surprised and like, wow, this is really good stuff. Who are you? Thank you. You want to kind of look for that. People that have a genuine response, like they really got value from what you had to say. And then secondly, how you feel. You don't have to go and study a book and then try to regurgitate it to come off as some kind of like phony authority. People won't respond to that nicely anyway. You gotta, how do I know my niche? Because I feel so natural talking about it. He feels so natural. It's like, I'll sit in on his live cast sometime. There's other membership group and I'm like, wow, I benefit. It's like this wisdom pours through. There's his naturalness. You want to find where you could just talk about it for hours. You want to find a topic that you just love so much.
Yeah.
Okay. And then lastly, real quick, a couple tips to get over the nerves. One of them is this. So many people put all this expectation on their very first video. How am I going to introduce myself to the world? How am I going to do it? The world isn't going to see it. Maybe 20 people at the most will see it. So my advice to you is don't worry about your first video or your first 5 videos. What a mentor told me many years ago is get your first 10 crappy videos out of the way. Don't expect to be good for your first 10 videos, but after the 10th video, roughly obviously, you'll feel better. You'll kind of come into your rhythm a little bit, probably define your niche a little bit, and you'll just be more natural. The kinks have been ironed out. So don't beat yourself up if you're not perfect after 5 videos. Get the first 10 out of the way. Another way to kind of easily get started is I tell people, pretend you've been doing this for years. If you have been posting on YouTube or blog for the last 5 years, what would this week's post be about? Probably something kind of relevant to you, maybe a book you're reading or a thing you're going through. Make that your first video. Just pick up where you left off in your mind. So pretend you've been sharing and just sort of get into the habit of sharing your experiences with the world rather than trying to like overanalyze how is this video going to fit in. I have these long-term goals. I want to do this and it doesn't make sense with this. Just start sharing your life.
Yeah, and if I'll jump in here for a minute.
Go ahead,
share some of my ideas when it comes to niche. The first thing I would say is to set the intention that you find out what your niche is. Because when you set the intention, the way the brain works is the brain looks for patterns. So when you start to set yourself and you decide that you're going to find your niche, you will start to get evidence of what it could possibly be. So first off, simply set the intention, start to go through, and here's what I did when I started my YouTube channel. I simply started making videos of things I was passionate about. I made videos on awareness, I made videos on meditation, I made videos on neuroscience and psychology, and the videos that always did well were the law of attraction videos because I explained it in a little bit different way than a lot of people explain the law of attraction. So I listened to the audience, and when I made a law of attraction video, people were like, oh, can you explain more on this? Can you elaborate more on this? And then I started to go more all in. My niche when I got on YouTube wasn't the law of attraction right away. It was, I started making content of things I was passionate about. I'm still passionate about law of attraction and the mentality of create your own reality. And now I put in different, mentalities with that as well when it comes to the different philosophies. But nonetheless, when I started out, I simply was making content. So what you can do is make videos on things you're passionate about and in a way gauge on what you love doing, because there'll be certain things you talk about that you just get into a natural flow state about, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go in more in this direction because this is something I like to talk about. Plus, you can judge the feedback from the people that are listening. Like Vic was saying, when it comes to having certain amount of videos out, pay attention to the feedback from people, and you'll get signs of what you're meant to go in. You'll find, though, as Victor found, it's normally something that's connected to your heart. It's normally something that you're passionate about, that's easy for you to talk about. So set the intention, start to look for the patterns, make content in general, and it's so true. Start putting out videos. Your first 10 videos, it doesn't have to be too well thought out. I remember Victor and I went to that place in Costa Rica called Rhythmia, and there were 2 or 3 people there that were fascinated by what we do and asking us for tips. And they had all of these plans for 10 videos. I'm going to make 10 videos and make it XYZ and have an intro video to my channel, a channel trailer. And we're like, no. Start making videos. Just start, be passionate about it, get it out of the way, and then it progresses as you go. So set the intention, simply start, trust the process, and know that you will begin to get evidence from that. You can't get evidence if you don't move. If you sit there and you're like, okay, what's my niche? You won't actually find it unless you go within, or you go within and you start to move in the direction, and in that movement you'll be able to gauge, am I going in the right direction? What is the audience? What is the value that the audience is getting from it, whether it's an emotion or an actual value? So that's what I found to be powerful with the niche, and by the end of it, you can set that intention right now. If you don't know your niche yet, set the intention right now for you to find your niche, and then pay attention to what comes up. Pay attention to the things that pop out at you in the books you read. Pay attention to all the things that you feel like sharing. Start making videos, start creating content, and then dial in after you've done that, and you will find your niche. And it may change a little bit as well. You may start going down a little bit of a different route, but you will get evidence and you will go in a certain direction from doing that. So yeah, so now we're just going to get into some. I see you guys. I see a whole bunch of awesome interaction with you all. So, and I see some questions and stuff. So we could either jump into answering questions.
Yeah. So we'll start if any of you are struggling with your niche, maybe we'll take 3 or 4 people and help you find it. And us helping you find it, then other people will probably, a lot of the advice we say will apply to you as well. So anybody who wants to step up to the plate and say, here's what I think my niche is, and I can use some help, or if you're struggling with this, kind of send us a short comment, and we'll try to help you out, okay? And if no one does it, no one's answering questions. Okay.
We'll kind of mix it in a little bit.
Sure.
Should you have your product or service before creating content? This is from Nika. Should you have your product or service before creating content, or should you just create content for content's sake?
I know both of us probably want to answer that one. You can if you want.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I would say no, because you won't really know what is going to work if you don't have an audience yet. You really will find out what product to do once you have people that you can basically recognize themes of problems that you can solve, rather than I think people would benefit from this. That's the wrong mindset. Even though it's of course genuine, it won't work. You got to see what do people want that I can deliver. And you can't do that without having any kind of content or an audience, or clarifying your niche, as we were just discussing. So I would not consider worrying about a product yet.
Even just beyond that, what actually a lot of marketers will tell you is don't even create the product until you have an opt-in list to make sure people are opting in for that. So what this means is, in order to get people to see if they're interested on a product, you could literally make a coming soon page and have people put in, and we'll show that in month 2, but what you could do is make a coming soon page for something that you're going to promote on your YouTube channel, and you could then see how many people sign up for that coming soon product. And if you have a lot of people sign up for it, then you know it's something they may be interested in. So even after you've created content, it may still not be the time to actually make the product. It may be better to get leads for it, that then once you get evidence, then you make the product. So making the product is something that you do not only after you've created content, but also after you've maybe verified that it's something you can make money on, or it's something people are interested in. Like I had a couple of videos that got a lot of views on morning routine. So there were a lot of people that were watching my morning routine videos. So I said, okay, I've made the content on morning routine and people are really interested in it. So there's most likely people that are going to be interested in understanding how to develop a powerful morning routine, my visualization process, all of those things. That was my first course that I ever launched, and it did well. But that's why you want to create content first and then dial in on the product that you could create. But even before that, you might even just want to take in email addresses to let them know when you do launch it so that you already have a list built up. We'll get into that. It's a little bit more of an advanced thing, but I thought I'd mention it because the right way to go about this, not the right way, but the way you want to go about this that we have found is you want to create the content, attract the people, and then go for it so that the marketing is done through people that are already interested in what you have to talk about.
Good, that's solid. So, yeah.
So yeah, I saw that question kept popping out. So, yeah. So should we keep? Let's see if the niche is.
Here's what. Let's see. I think my niche. Okay, this one from Sue would be kind of a good one. She said, "I think my niche is about helping and supporting women and children going through or coming through trauma." So that's kind of a good place to look for your niche, is like problems out there in the marketplace that you could help. So what I would do if I were you, Sue, I would just start sharing videos that would help the very people you think might be your audience. And then, as we discussed previously, be on the lookout for evidence to see if that's working and if there's like a demand for it. So yeah, I would say that's enough to go on, Sue. Start creating content designed to help those women and children going through trauma, and that's enough to go on for sure.
So here's one from Waking Up with Natasha. It says, "I want to teach people how to raise their vibration the way I did to attract good things into their lives. Is that too broad? Should it be specific to something like attracting love or money?" What I would say is, for now, make content in general in the niche of raising vibration and the law of attraction, and make content in those niches and then gauge. Like, the idea behind this workshop is that you find your niche, but the actual detail of the niche can be something that you find once you get a little bit more evidence, because you may find that through the creation of this type of content, through the broad creation of the content, you then start to narrow it down as to what aspects you want it to be on. But in general, I would say the things from a marketing perspective, most people are looking for how they can attract love or money. So there's a very good observation that you made there, Natasha. I would focus on making content in that niche with your unique spin and with your spin on raising vibration and showing how raising vibration will help them to attract love and how to attract money. So you could do it in that way. But in general, what I would say is go forth making content in that general area, and then set the intention that you figure out how you can niche it down a little bit more if you choose to, but you'll find the evidence of that as you go. So that's kind of the advice I'd have for that. Let's see. Hey, I'm thinking my niche is to go vegan and adopt a plant-based lifestyle. Is this good? It's encompassing of my environmental education passion. Please support with insight. So honestly, that's a great niche to be in. Going vegan, lifestyle change. I see a huge demand. I have a buddy he's actually not vegan. A buddy I used to work with at my job, and I used to tell him, because he's struggling because he's putting out fitness information. He's really in fit, but I kind of told him, I said, man, if you were to go vegan and then be in the vegan niche, I just know he would do so well, because the vegan niche there's just not even though there's a lot of people going vegan, it's something you can really hammer down on, and I think there's so much potential in the vegan, the higher lifestyle type fitness mentality. I think there's a ton of potential. So what you could do is you could focus on maybe you could actually do showing hacks on how people could go vegan. You could interview other people who have gone vegan. You could interview people that are bodybuilders that are vegan. That normally breaks down the belief patterns of people, because I know there's a couple people on Instagram that are just, they look like actual legit bodybuilders, but they eat a plant-based diet, and it breaks up the belief patterns of people, because some people believe that those two don't go together. You could interview people like that. So there's definitely ways of bringing it in. I think that that's a great niche to be in. I think you should go with that. Remember though that it's the adding the value as well. So have that underneath this showing the information, which I'm sure that is the intention if you're talking about that lifestyle. So yeah, I think that's a great niche.
Okay. Let's see. Saw this one from Empress. What if you know what your niche is, but a physical, mental, internal turbulence makes skill building consistently towards that challenging and overwhelming? I guess I would probably need some more clarity of what exactly you think your niche is. I don't really know how to answer that, unfortunately. I guess, based on my own perception of what you were saying, you'd have to just assess if it's worth it. It sounds like you have a niche, you want to do it, but it's a struggle to I guess, continue to learn skills associated with it. I wouldn't recommend going into something that's like really miserable for you to learn. If that's what you're asking, I would fall into something a little bit more smooth if I were you. Or perhaps you just have a belief that coming into that knowledge is going to involve a lot of turbulence, and you could sort of look at that and see maybe there's some easier ways of doing that.
You want to mix it up now and start doing questions?
Yeah, we can just start answering other questions.
I see
There's
a lot of general
yeah.
questions.
Okay.
I don't see the question right now, but I saw it a minute ago. It was on, somebody asked, can you schedule videos because of the time zone that they're in? Yeah, on YouTube, that's what I do. I'm honestly like 50 videos ahead on YouTube. So what I do is I schedule out my videos for the week before, and I schedule them out at 10:30 in the morning every day. That's how I do my videos, 10:30 in the morning every day. And I do it Pacific time. So what you can do is you go in on YouTube, and there's an option for the status of the video can be private, scheduled, or public. Go to scheduled, that'll be one of the options, and schedule it for when you want to go live. And another little tip is have a set time every week that your videos go live. If you do a video every day, a certain time every day. If you do it 3 times a week, do it the same times every week, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Let people know that that's when you are going to be making videos, so that they know and can expect when to come back online, because that'll drive up your watch time. So yeah, you can for sure schedule out videos, and it makes it so much easier, because then you don't have to always be, if I had to get up every day at 10, or after, in the middle of doing all my work every day at 10:30 to post, it would be a big hassle. So you can for sure schedule them out. That makes it so much easier.
I know. This is a good one. Elena says, hey, Vic and Aaron, what if we have several niches, 4 of them to be exact, that are connected to one or another? Do you suggest focusing on one topic? What I found is that I experimented on many niches, and then I did what we've been saying here is I saw which one seemed to get the greatest response. And then I found that even though I had to sort of reduce myself to one niche, law of attraction, spiritual awakening, within that small little box, you can draw from all of your passions for the most part. I've done diet videos, I've done many types of videos, and been able to talk about a lot of the things that are important to me within this little box of the spiritual awakening niche. So I would pick one that you think is the best, and then again, creatively implement your other interests and infuse it into that one.
The way that it works on YouTube with this whole niche thing is when you make videos in a certain niche, what YouTube does is from the algorithm, it determines what kind of videos you make. So for me, I have a certain level of credibility and a track record with the law of attraction. So what it does is with other law of attraction videos, it'll push my videos in front of people because it knows that I have a good amount of watch time or authority in the space. But the thing is pick one, develop momentum in that one, and when you start to catch on in that niche, you can then talk about other things because you've already hooked people into your content. So I could talk, people are now interested in what my diet is, how I eat. People are now interested in some different ideas rather than just the law of attraction because I've developed that following. And you can do the same thing. If you have 3 or 4 different concepts, create content in each of them, but then once you dial in on one, I'd say go even more into it and start to develop that authority with that space. When you type in spiritual awakening, you will get a whole bunch of Victor's videos because Victor has dominance and credibility in that space. Whereas when you find your own niche, you want to think about it in the terms of the macro. That's why it's almost like we say you don't want to spread yourself too thin by making Instagram videos, YouTube videos, Facebook videos, Twitter, and all of this other stuff. Focus on 1 or 2, develop the dominance or the credibility, and then it spreads and leaks everywhere else anyways. That's what I did. I went all in on YouTube. YouTube started to grow. YouTube's been growing. Now my Instagram is also taking up as well. So focus the momentum on one area plus one niche, and then you can talk about other stuff as well. It all kind of plays in and feeds into each other in the end anyways. So it's just kind of going all in on one and then letting it become more of general or more specific. So you just kind of have to gauge it.
Cool, cool. Here's one from Danny. She says, any advice on getting past the technology, deer in headlights paralysis? Funny way of putting it. I need making YouTube videos 101. Any good advice on where to go? Yes. It's to take one task at a time and understand it's a marathon. If you feel like I got to learn how to make thumbnails, I need to learn how to do SEO, I got to find my niche, I got to find some editing software, we create that whole deer in headlights effect. But if you have one simple specific objective, you focus your energy into that and you'll be able to find out how. For example, how do you upload a video once you have it? Just simply Google it. How do I upload a video? You might have to watch 1 or 2 tutorials to get like a clear understanding. But then as you do it one time, it might go slow. Like, wow, it took me 45 minutes to do something that really takes 10 seconds. Now you know. You have that skill in your tool belt. You move on to the next. How do you make a thumbnail? And so you just focus on one thing at a time.
It only gets easier too. I remember my first time ever editing a video was in iMovie. I use Final Cut Pro now. It was an iMovie, and it took me probably 40 minutes to edit a video that needed no editing. It was just, I could not figure out how to do the headline. I could not figure out, I had to Google it and figure it out. It took me 45 minutes, but guess what? After that, it got quicker and quicker and quicker, and now I can edit a video. I filmed a video this morning when I was at my house, and I wake up every morning, I film a video. Filmed a video, edited the video, and have it uploading to YouTube within 15 minutes or less. And that's the kind of power of doing it consistently. So when you do it, it only gets easier. The only initial time that it's a little bit hard and frustrating is in the very beginning, but once you figure it out, it gets so much easier and it just goes on autopilot. So editing videos and the stuff that we do, it's just kind of a natural thing. We go into autopilot. I'm not even really thinking when I do it. I'm just like, okay, and that's where you will get to if you consistently do it. So just know it only gets easier. Leash had a question, or Lish. I'm interested in releasing trapped emotions in EFT. What would my niche be? Your niche should be EFT. There is a very powerful, EFT is a very powerful modality for releasing trapped emotions. If you guys don't know what EFT is, it has to do with tapping, using affirmations and tapping to release stored energy. And that is a niche within itself. There's a couple people on YouTube that are very dominant in the EFT niche. There's one guy that has like over 100,000 subscribers. This is the thing. With some of these niches, you don't even need 10,000 subscribers to be making a great living. Because imagine you're an EFT practitioner and you go and you make videos on EFT and you make videos that actually show people like practical exercise videos on how to use EFT, and you put people through the process. You could then do one-on-one consultations. You could sell a service. So many different ways to go about it. But what I would do if I were you is I would just claim that, get into the EFT niche. And what I thought would be interesting is making EFT videos of practical videos with music underneath it that help people go through the process. There's so many different ways you can go about it, but think of How could you add value? What are people that are interested in EFT interested in? They're interested in releasing stored emotion. They're interested in the different aspects of EFT, different modalities for releasing stored emotion. Maybe breathing techniques is something you could talk about as well. EFT is a great niche to be in, though. Yeah, I would go. It's not too niche. It's something I think you could do very well in.
Yeah, like just real quick, for example, I bought this real thick, was it EFT? Is that what it is? EFT or NFT?
EFT.
Oh, I'm thinking NLP. Never mind. Sorry, bad example. But anyway, I bought this thick book on a topic. Maybe EFT is an example, and I've yet to go through it. But someone making videos to make it very relatable and understandable would be. You could probably get like hundreds of video ideas out of one book. That would be perfect for someone like me who doesn't want to read this whole book. I'm not that interested, but I would like to utilize some of the techniques.
And you can mix it with things too. I've thought about. I mean, because I have a program that actually focuses and teaches a little bit of EFT. And what I did is I infused what we know about what he was talking about called NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and I infused EFT with different ideas. So what if you made EFT with meditation, EFT with certain type of subliminal type, the power of subliminals. There's different ways that you can infuse your own touch into it, your own technique into it. But there's so many different ways to go about it. You could read one EFT book and just come up with 50 to 100 videos pretty quickly because there's so many different emotions people are working through. There's anxiety, there's the past experiences, there's trauma, there's people with post-traumatic stress, PTSD. There's so many different ways to go about it. So I think that's a great niche to be in.
Cool. I got this one from Misfit Awakening. Let's see, it turned on me. Saying I can't afford HostGator right now. I registered my web address, though. Can I get the website up when I'm more established? Here's what I would recommend. It's a good piece of advice for other people as well. And it's very true. Well, for one, to answer your question in short, yeah, don't worry about the website. Focus on what's free, YouTube. Make YouTube videos and build up your audience first. You'll be able to do that in time, I'm confident. But two is always get creative. Always, I like what Tony Robbins says. He said, you don't need resources to start. You need to be resourceful. Like when I first started, I had a lot of so many reasons to not be doing it, but I was just real creative with my time, creative with my energy, and I made it happen. So you want to sort of tap into your own hustle. I'm gonna get this done no matter what kind of mentality. And maybe you can't get HostGator right now. Well, what can you do? What's in your control now? Focus on that and dominate that. And then if you just have that mentality, that will, over time, will allow you to get all the resources you need in the end, okay? So don't worry about the website right now. Just focus on building your audience. I've seen your channel. It's great. You just keep pumping out those videos.
It's a good question from Lori. Should I name my YouTube channel my name or a name that relates to my niche? I notice both of you use your personal names. Thanks. So it depends on your intention with your macro goals. So if you plan on being more of a personality, like my goal is to become or to be somebody that speaks and does seminars, and somebody that has this long-term goal that's very derived at kind of around myself, right? My personality, who I am, and what I teach. So that's my goal. So that's why that's my name. I have seen people that use the niche to draw people in. The cool thing about YouTube too is you can change your name. Mm-hmm. So maybe in the beginning, this is kind of what's coming to me right now. In the beginning, maybe make it something that's more of a brand. But then see later on, maybe what you do is you change the name to more of your name if that's your goal. But if you never have a goal really of maybe having a brand that's around your name, maybe if it's more about the services or it's just it's not something that you really have too much importance with, then maybe you can leave it as the brand. I know some people, we have some other YouTube buddies that have actual brand names for it. But in general, to be honest with you, my intuition tells me that normally it's actually, if you have a long-term goal of growing your own business or growing your own brand or who you are, I would say go with your name. Even though it is kind of more niche at first and not many people know who it is, with repetition, it does become, some people know, oh, that's Aaron, that's Victor, you know what I mean? That's kind of what my gut tells me, so Do you have anything to add on
Yeah,
that?
I would agree. I would say if for anybody, if deciding on your name is what's stopping you from starting with your content creation, then just throw your name up there. As he said, you can change it whenever you want.
Yeah.
It's real simple. It's not going to make or break you. It's not. There's much more of like a totality to what's going to, influence your success rather than just that little name on your YouTube.
The one thing I
channel.
realized with my name too is my name's never going to change. You know what I mean? For the most part,
It's a safe.
Exactly. So
name,
you
but
see
yeah.
some people, I've seen them change their YouTube channel's name 3 times. It gets confusing for people that want to find that person
Yeah, it
because
does.
then they're like 2 months later it goes called this, now it's called this, and it's confusing to them. But Aaron Dowdy, that's not going to change. So that's just something that they always can come back to.
Yeah. It's funny. I was going to change mine maybe 6-8 months
Really?
back to Awakening Help or something, maybe a year ago.
Okay.
But then I saw like so many people type in just Victor Odo. I'm like, well, that would be stupid,
Yeah, it would
So
be.
yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just the way people relate that name with your channel.
Yeah.
Okay, this one real quick from the doctor. She said, my question was.
Just reading that, yeah.
Okay. Basically, should I have 2 YouTube channels in 2 different languages, English and German? So I think I read your question before, and it was like, I would imagine making it in English would reach more people, would you assume?
I would.
I don't know that for a fact.
It's a funny question. I mean, I could see benefits of both. So doing it in English, obviously it may reach more people, but you may be able to get a very strong niche in the German
true.
market, But also we have this ability to transcribe. Of course, it's in the language, it's always more powerful, but there's this ability to transcribe different languages and stuff. So maybe what I would do is make videos primarily in one language and then have your videos transcribed into the other language so that your audience can go back and forth. There's this big guy, his name's Mikkel or something like that, this big fitness dude. I think he's vegan too. He's from Australia, and he does videos in German and in English. And he has a huge amount of people that watch his videos, even though a lot of them are in
Really?
German. Yeah, because he's got a huge following too.
Yeah.
He's got like 600,000 or more followers. But people will, if you put that translation in there, which is something you can have done, you can have it transcribed into that language. Then it's something I think you'll be able to go back and forth with. But I would say primarily for SEO purposes, maybe stick with one that you kind of choose to stick with. But you can always just go back and forth between those 2 languages. So that people can kind of hop back and forth a little bit too.
Yeah, and then I guess last little part of the equation you might want to consider is like, which one would you want to go? It sounds like me and Aaron, it can work both ways. So
Yeah.
what would you prefer? That's what's going to work the best for you.
Yeah, I think
You
that's
can make
the real answer,
either option will work.
Yeah. How important, so Misfit Awakening said, how important is the description? What detail is needed? So the description, the most important thing when it comes to video creation is the content in the video, the thumbnail, and the title. Those are always going to be the most important parts that make the video clickable. That should always be the primary focus. Description is more of a secondary focus. And the description is something you still want to think of. I kind of posted a video in the group last week or maybe 4 or 5 days ago on a tip, a hack for YouTube is to put the keywords in the first top part of the description box. So within the first 30 words, you want to put the keywords that you're using in the title that you're trying to rank that video for also in the description box, because YouTube does take the words in the description and then it puts it in the category of it. So the description is somewhat important. What I personally do, here's another hack of something I do. Every single video I do, I transcribe my video, which means I use a service called Temi.com, Temi.com. It's like 10 cents a minute to transcribe those videos. So I pay about $2-3 a day to transcribe my videos. And what I do is I then have and put the first 5,000 characters is all that's allowed in the description box. I put the first like third of the transcript in the description box because it's loaded with keywords and it's kind of easy for me to do. So copy, paste that in there. But the first 2 or 3 sentences you want to be something of the description box, you want to be of the title or of the keywords you're trying to rank for. And you generally want there to be a couple times in the description box that you do mention that keyword. That's like a little bit of a hack. But like I said, the most important thing is the thumbnail, the content of the video, and the title. That's to be the primary focus because that's what really determines the growth. But the secondary of that is things that we may not even know about, because another thing YouTube does is it knows what the words you're saying in your video, and it captions your videos and will also use what you say in the video in part of the SEO. So if that makes sense, you want it to all be congruent. So you want the title, and then you're actually talking about whatever the title is in the video itself, plus the description. If you do all of those, it will work much better for you. But like I said, the most important thing isn't the description. It is the title, the thumbnail, and the keywords.
Cool. And one quick thing, I was going to mention this as well. So for any of you guys who are already starting to post videos, you got your flow and you've got 4 or 5 videos out, what you want to do is go into the course, because we actually talked about this in detail, what exactly to put in the description, how to make your tags, etc. You want to basically have that checklist, as he said, thumbnail, title, description, tags, and make sure all of your videos from this point forward sort of fulfill all the different guidelines that we kind of went into more detail within the course, because it's like he said, it's kind of like they're all somewhat important, but when you do them all, when you optimize them all, like he goes this extra mile with this whole transcript.
It's not even necessary. Works. It really isn't.
But hey, I wouldn't stop doing it if I were you.
I'm gonna keep doing it. Yeah. In the beginning, though, it's not as important as the other. I'd say you become a master in those 3 things, you will grow on YouTube, like hands down. But if you don't fix those 3 things and you just go for the description box, it's not going to do any good.
Yeah.
It's just a little added fuel on the fire.
Yep. It's a good one.
Let's see. What's your opinion? So Stephanie asked, what's your opinion on video recording your podcast sessions? 2 birds with 1 stone type of thing. It can be powerful. I mean, of course, like Joe Rogan does very well with that because he has such a huge following. In general, though, let's see. It does increase watch time if you are talking. If people are obviously staying on the video, because podcast episodes tend to be somewhat long. I would say try it, but then take inventory of it and see how it does, because in general, people may not be, the people that do stay on will probably watch a long time, but it may not get many views, because people on YouTube, there seems to be like a sweet spot in between 8 to 20 minutes seems to be a good sweet spot. But if you're doing a podcast episode that's like an hour and a half long, of course Joe Rogan can get away with it, but I would say do it, test it out, but then kind of take inventory of it. Now, if you're making those videos with other videos you're making as well, then I'd say that's great. But I wouldn't make it the only video content you make if your intention is to grow on YouTube. Now, if your intention is to grow on podcast, then do that and that. If it's podcast is your main focus, do the podcast and do the YouTube videos. But if YouTube's your main focus, do the podcast plus add other videos as well that are different variables of time, because that'll help. But if people watch the whole thing, you can tell with analytics on YouTube. If they're watching the whole thing, then you're doing great, and if you're getting a lot of views. So you just gotta have to test it for yourself. But I would say, yes, the more content you post in general, the better on YouTube, as long as it's also keeping people engaged and it's something that people want to watch and they're viewing it.
Yeah, and then one last thing to add to that is it's still, in a sense, killing 2 birds with 1 stone, even if you convert the essence of what you shared about in your podcast into a short, like 8 or 10 minute YouTube video, because the whole idea is there. That can be sometimes the difficult part, is coming up with new ideas. And if you had a whole podcast, you could probably easily consolidate that, again, the essence of that, into an 8 or 10 minute video on YouTube, if you feel guided. But as Aaron said, there's many ways of looking at it, and there's no one right or wrong way. Just another alternative idea.
Yeah.
Clay said, when you get a certain level of subscribers, does YouTube pay you for advertising? Yeah, you get paid for the ads on there once you get a certain. It's not a lot, but yeah, yep. I don't know the exact numbers.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the niche that you're in. It depends on a couple different factors, and it depends on the views you get, obviously. And so it's something to think about. The reason we don't emphasize ads as much is because it's the smallest part of the equation, especially first starting out. And the potential is really on the back of the email list, the back end of the email list that we're going to be talking about in month 2. That's where most of the power is. And even though we both make decent money from ads, it doesn't equate to the larger aspect of how we're able to be much more abundant with our programs and much more abundant with the services and everything else. So that's kind of why we mention it, but we don't talk about it too much because there's so much more potential on the other side of it. But yes, through Google AdSense, you will get paid once you get a certain amount of views, and every month you'll get a check. So it is something that does happen.
Someone asked if it's what are like the rules with repeating content, repeating ideas. So me and Aaron both do it all the time. You'll go crazy trying to come up with a brand new earth-shattering topic for your audience. He does daily videos. It's impossible. But it's not like you just repeat it in the same way. You could take one idea or one topic, one piece of content, and express it
so many different
ways. Plus you learn and grow, and you might have a totally different take on it, a year from now than you did the first time. So yes, I would say alleviate the burden of yourself of trying to always come up with a fresh idea, because you'll drive yourself nuts.
Don't take it personally, because if you are making some similar videos, like if you're making EFT videos and if someone's like, oh, this is like the 8th EFT video you've made, that's the niche you're in. I've had people tell me, I've been making daily videos since February 2017. So I've made 400 or 500 videos in a row, and every now and then I'll get someone that's like, this video is similar to a video you did like 3 weeks ago. I'm like, I do daily content. I can't expect it. Like sometimes people expect me to come up with mind-blowing videos every single day, but I understand that I am in a certain niche. This is what I'm passionate about, and I move forward with it. So just know that it really is, there's a lot of power in going deep, going with depth. And there's so many different ways you can twist things. And it's true, what Victor said is true. I make videos on law of attraction now that are totally different than a year ago, and it's the same topic, but I've shifted my perspective because I've gone deeper within it. So don't feel self-conscious about it. It's something that you can repurpose content. On Instagram, on YouTube, I don't post YouTube videos ever twice, but on Instagram especially, I post quotes that I posted 3 months ago. I'll repost those, and people don't even notice, because especially on Instagram, the attention span is so, you're just looking at a photo, swipe like it. Looking at a photo, swipe like it. Don't think twice about it. It's something that you can put out content with. If you repeat yourself, it's okay. It's part of the game, and it's something that you go more deep than going wide. That's what you want to think of. If it adds value especially, then don't even worry about it.
Okay, good. This one is from Sue. She says, you were basically asking about, is it worth it to transcribe your YouTube videos and put them into a blog post? Now, this is kind of an interesting one. Aaron does that now.
Now I do.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't recommend that right in the beginning. I would focus, because you can only focus, there's so many possibilities, so many things you could do.
Only so much energy,
Yeah, you really got to funnel that into what's like your number one thing, your most important thing. Down the line, yeah, like is a transcribed blog post going to do as well as a raw written blog post? It won't. It will do okay. That's why Aaron does it, because he gets so many out there. And
the only reason I do it now is because I pay someone to do it.
Yes,
I have a virtual assistant that puts out my transcribed, that does it for me, because I don't even have time for it. But I have that luxury now because of everything else because I have grown the YouTube. But like, go real deep on one of them, because that's where the momentum will be. Because you're going to be losing energy, putting energy to making a blog post, editing it, putting it out there, finding an image for it. But I have someone that I can pay that just does that simply does it. Probably takes her 30 minutes to do it, but I don't even got to think about it. And every day on my website, you'll see a blog post of the video embedded in there with an image and the transcribed video that's been edited. So it's something to eventually do, but do it once you already have momentum somewhere else, on whatever your modality is,
And real quick to clarify, the question about the German versus the English YouTube channel you asked, should you just do one channel then? I would personally say, yeah, just pick one.
Yeah.
Don't try to juggle two. Me and Aaron, we sometimes struggle to get YouTube videos up on the one we have together, and we're both paying someone to edit the videos. We just show up real quick, and even that sometimes is like a challenge for us. So I wouldn't recommend starting out having two channels. It'll be difficult to sustain over time.
You need to grow on YouTube or on social media in general. You need momentum.
Yes.
And you're gonna get momentum by going deep. So it's kind of a similar philosophy that we keep hearing through it, but it really is the key. Go all in. If I would have gone on YouTube plus Instagram plus Facebook, I wouldn't have grown on YouTube so much. So I went all in on YouTube, and then Instagram grows, then Facebook can grow, then I can focus on other stuff. But first, it's the one that you're real passionate about. Is it videos? Is it blog posts? Maybe you're passionate more about blog posts than YouTube videos, then focus on ranking for blog posts. But in general, just kind of a side tip, video is the thing that's dwarfing everything else online, so we'd recommend video anyways. But that's the idea. Go all in on one and then figure it out later.
It's a good one. I almost have to think about it, but you'll probably have an answer here, Aaron. Forrest says, should I promote my daily videos or spend more time improving my process?
Why do you have to choose? You know, does it have to be a choice? Could you do both? Because you could promote it. I guess
you want to, I would say, do a little bit of, I guess we would need maybe a little more information to answer that with just,
I mean, it's something it doesn't, to promote it, it means you share it on your social media.
Yeah, it only takes a second.
It only takes a second. But the main intention in the beginning should be to go all in with your niche and creating content and putting out a lot of content. That should always be the first thing. And then it'll promote itself later on. But share it on your social media and stuff, but it should just take a minute or two.
Yeah, and I would say if you're even considering doing daily YouTube videos, then you should do that.
Yes.
You're the kind of person that's like, yeah, I could maybe do that, but what if I should spend more time spreading it out there? I would say do that. There's a lot of value that comes from that beyond just the obvious of ranking your videos. Just you become good quickly at YouTube because you do it so often, and you become a better communicator. You get to know your audience very deeply. There's so many benefits of doing it if you're willing to do it.
Actually, now that I think about it, this in the beginning, I wouldn't even really be promoting the videos. I'm thinking about when I first started on YouTube and was like growing on YouTube. Back to when I was in that place, what I would have needed to hear is to just go all in on the YouTube, go all in on the platform that you prefer, that you're trying to grow in, because then to your friends, because you're not trying to necessarily get your audience from your friend group, right? You guys may have learned that if you put out some of the awakening information in your Facebook group and some friends are like, whoa, this is weird stuff, because all of a sudden you're posting it. That's what happened to me. But then I realized that now that I've grown, even now sometimes I'm making Instagram posts. I have so many followers, 99% of my followers are people that follow me from YouTube, but still, I'm like the 200 followers that are my old friends and stuff, what are they thinking? And you kind of have to just let it go, but make content and have the intention of growing first, and then you can promote it, to your friends and family, but you're going to a much larger pool and much targeted list than you are just your, maybe 800 Facebook friends or whatever it is, you know what I mean? So yeah, that'd be the key. Go all in on the YouTube or the platform.
Yeah. And this is a quick one. Zi-Fi said, I have a very old blog, like an old website from 10 years ago. Should I start a new one with a new domain? I would say no, because you have the age of your domain is actually kind of a big factor.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
cool.
Yeah. So stick with the old one if it's even somewhat relatable, rather than getting a new one. I would be happy you have a 10-year-old domain.
Do you want to get into the Wufoo forms now?
Sure, yes.
I don't know if we've been in them yet.
No.
We'll get into the Wufoo form now, which is the Wufoo, it's like the survey form that some people filled out.
Okay, I guess I'll read this to you and then you'll read me one or something?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. Can you please expand on the small tricks that help you get so many subscribers so fast? Is it just SEO basically, and the stuff in the YouTube course and the members area? Like, that's kind of a complex one, but you can chime in if you want.
So in general, to get subscribers quickly, the key is the mixture of the things we were talking about earlier. It's a combination of the three most important things with YouTube. First off, the content and adding the value. That's always number one, the content and adding the value. Then the keywords, and then the thumbnail or I don't even know which one would go first. But the content has to be good and it has to add value with the thumbnail and the clickable, having a clickable thumbnail and having the right SEO, which means the keywords that are people typing in. That is the key. There really isn't, it's funny because the growth on YouTube will normally come from just a couple of videos. There'll be one video that goes viral and you grow by so much. But in order to get a video to pop, what you want to do is consistency. The biggest trick for me and me growing my channel is consistency. I did not start growing until I went daily. That's just my personal experience. Plus, I started getting better at the marketing of the videos, which means the thumbnail and the keywords. So the combination of going more consistent on YouTube, plus making thumbnails that are catchy, that get people to click, with also providing the value in the video. So it's all a mixture of all of those. That is the trick to getting a lot of subscribers quickly, but you don't really want a one-time like 7-minute abs type thing. Do you know what I mean? You almost want it to be something that's more of a part of how you create content, because the growth will come anyways from that, from the adding value, putting that energy out there. But in general, that is the strategy, is those things and doing them consistently.
Yeah, I agree, dude. Yeah. So this is like someone asking basically about like how do you find out about the copyright laws and stuff like that. Lori just wants to mention a book or a person that made your life better. You don't have to worry about that if you just want to mention a book in your content. Yeah. I'm usually of the mindset of asking for forgiveness rather than permission. Yeah. But you know, use a little bit of caution when you apply that. But there's a lot of flexibility. I wouldn't recommend using full length like popular songs in your videos, but if you want to, I have like several book review YouTube videos, and if anything, they just promote the book, so no one will have a problem with that.
If you were an author and you saw someone that was promoting your book and it was making it more popular, normally you're not going to reach out to that person. Here's the thing though, go with your integrity on what you feel, because you can kind of feel, if you quote the book and you quote the author in the book and you maybe just like mention it in the description or something, you're probably going to be fine. But if you make it your own content, like for example, if you were like, if you were teaching something and saying it was yours, like I teach something called reality transurfing. If I said that reality transurfing is my process that I made, it would probably be an issue. But I don't say that. I say, and I quote the book in a lot of my videos, I say, oh, there's this book called Reality Transurfing. It's written by a quantum physicist named Vadim Zeland. And I say that in a lot of my videos because I'm giving credit to that person, so I don't have to worry about anything. And then I talk about the ideas in that, and from my own perspective, it's totally fine. So just kind of go on a barometer of what you feel is okay. But in general, if you're quoting the book and you're quoting the author and just mentioning it, you don't have to like talk about it the whole time, but you just mention it somewhat in the book or in the video, you're going to be totally fine. But of course, songs is a different story. You don't want to put songs that aren't, there's a copyright thing with songs. If you use someone's song in the background and you're monetizing the video, that could be an issue. So there's a lot of copyright-free, it's called royalty-free music. The song that I use in my videos, it's kind of like that little song in the intro, that's royalty-free. I don't have to pay someone. I don't have to worry about getting flagged for that. So you can look up royalty-free music as well if that's what the question was about.
Cool, cool. Okay, this one's from Israel. I have 3 skills to offer an audience. They go and list all of them, but where do you start? So you just pick one. Don't expect you're gonna just know where to start without having the experience of trying them out. Experience will give you the clarity you seek. Rich says, will you be able to walk us through the technical steps for making a decent YouTube video? We don't go into that because there's so many different ways of going about it. Essentially, the practical steps of like uploading a video can be found with a very simple Google search. I mean, I come up with questions like this all the time, and I just go on YouTube or Google and say, how do I upload a video? Yep. And there's probably a YouTube representative that will walk you through in a much more clear and concise way than we could. We focus on the stuff that you're not going to just find for free, or at least not in a sort of all-in-one place. So
because there's also so many different programs. We use Final Cut. There's also iMovie. Then some people don't have Macs. They use Adobe and stuff. And different free versions. So it's like
Yeah.
we can show you, but are you gonna use the same exact kind of computer or same exact kind of software?
Right.
It wouldn't make much sense. But if you just type in how to edit a video for YouTube on whatever software you want to use, whether it's Adobe or iMovie, whatever it is, then you'll find hundreds of videos. And then if you then say, how do I upload and use the right tags? Well, we have a video in the community or in the accelerator course that will show you how to do tags and stuff like that. But you can find out how to add the tags, and I show how to use long tail and short tail tags. You can find all of that out there just by typing it on YouTube as well. So you'll have guidance with that as well. You just know the steps to take that we share with the strategies is what you're getting the value out of.
Yeah, and that's a good a point, because everyone here will deal with this. Like, how do I exactly do this next technical step? And it can be kind of a headache. You might have to do several searches or watch several videos, and it's annoying and tedious, I agree, but I look at it like this. They're very wise skills to invest in. To be able to promote your brand online with YouTube and sell your courses and services from the privacy of your own home. Is it perfectly easy? No, but it's a skill worth taking the time to learn. And most of these like technical questions of this nature can be found pretty easily with a simple Google search, I would say. I would say just accept that you'll probably have to do that a lot. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like 6 months ago or so, I learned how to use Photoshop. That's kind of a complicated software, and it was a pain in the butt. I spent like a week or so really with those like knots in my head of trying to just figure it all out. But now I know how to do it. Like he said, 45 minutes for one YouTube video. Now it's easy. That's kind of the idea. Once you get through it one time, it'll be a non-issue.
It gets easier. Now I used to not edit. I used to edit through something called Canva.com. Canva.com is very easy to edit, really easy.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do a little bit. I want to take it to the next level. So Victor told me about Photoshop, and of course I've heard about Photoshop. I had to learn once again. Victor kind of showed me showed me how to do the basic stuff, and sometimes I'd be there and I'd be learning. It would take me maybe 20 minutes to do a thumbnail. But guess what? Now I can get it done really fast because I've done it so many times. So there's only that curve, the learning curve in the very beginning. It gets easier as you go though, but it does feel like a different language sometimes. That's how it felt with me with Photoshop, because Canva was so simple. It was like, just drag this photo, add this block text, But it's a valuable skill to learn, and it's something that once you do it only gets easier. So just hang in there, look on YouTube, you'll find ways of doing it, and then it'll get easier as you go.
Are there more new ones in there you want to go after?
Yeah, let me see.
All right. I'll just answer this one real quick while you're looking. Hansei says, if you still haven't fully found yourself, can you still be a part of this team? I would say that Aaron and I haven't fully found ourselves, and we're part of the team. So yes, absolutely. People will really like to connect and be a part of your own journey. And the person you are when you start, it's going to be different and less wise and experienced than the person you are a year from now. But you can start sharing your journey at any time. So you don't have to have found yourself or be some kind of guru or anything. You just have to have something of value to add to some people.
Yeah, it's funny, that brings me back. There's a question I saw earlier in the chat that I totally forgot to answer, and it had to do with credibility and do I have to be certified in order to make YouTube videos? Now, here's the thing. For YouTube, making content that adds value to people that you then begin to grow an audience with, that is where the credibility comes from. Our credibility, I know you have like a Kundalini certificate and maybe, I could get certified in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. There are certain things I could get certified in, but you develop authority as you grow and as you make content on it, as you study it. So I've read books. Don't let that hold you back from making content though. Here's the thing with marketing in general. It's actually more beneficial to become somebody that went through the process and shared what they learned than it is to be that guy on the top of or the guy or girl on top of the mountain telling everyone else what to do. Who would you rather listen to? Somebody that you relate to, that you have a connection with, that's been through what you are going through? Or would you rather have some high person, like some person wearing a suit that's really fancy, that has all the answers, that talks down to you? You see, so the benefit is that you can focus more on the relatability. I have a friend of ours named Leor Alexandra on YouTube, and she makes law of attraction videos. And she is so relatable. And sometimes she thinks that, I have to tell her, I'm like, that is such a strength that you have, because she's so relatable. She's going, she has different techniques, different ways that she uses the law of attraction, but she thinks that sometimes she's almost too relatable to where people don't view her as this expert, but they do view her as an expert. It's not a downfall to be more of someone that's going through the process. I think it's actually more of a benefit. Sometimes I want to be more relatable than this guy, because some people think I'm like this perfect, enlightened person, and I know people think the same thing. They think we're like enlightened, which is far from the case. But we are just people that are going down the journey, and we're just maybe a step or two ahead. We're guiding people through the process. In the same way, no, you are guiding people through the process. You're a guide. You're not the guru, and I'm not a guru, and Victor's not a guru. We're just helping, going through the process of life, sharing people what we've learned. Have more that mentality, and it'll make it easier to create content, because then you won't block yourself of like, well, I'm not, I don't have this certificate or a doctorate or anything. If you have, and you're able to add value, you're able to express what you know, you're reading books, or you're already into it because it's what you're passionate about, that may be all that you need. Now, if there's something you feel inspired to learn, I may one day want to get NLP certified because I'm interested in it, but I'm not doing it because I think it'll help my credibility online or anything, or I feel like I need it. You don't need it. All you do is you need to go with what you're passionate about, put information out, and know that that will be your credibility one day, but you don't got to be the guru on top of the hill. You can just be one step ahead in front of the person that wants the guidance. People, Misfit Awakening was saying, I was about to mention Lior. Please see how she is. We have not seen her in a week. I miss her. She's doing fine. I texted her yesterday. She's busy. She actually just got off of a launch, and she wants to take a week off and just relax. That's all it is. So she's doing great.
There's a good one from Rod. We'll jump on this one. Looking forward to getting into this. As far as YouTube, would it be more beneficial for me to take a month or two making videos without uploading them and getting a backlog a few months? I'm not going to read the rest. No, absolutely not, because there's a difference between doing them and then uploading them, putting them in front of the world. Don't delay going through that experience, because even though it's hard for most people, it's going to make your videos better. I would just say straight up no. Just if you have a video ready, we talk to people. Remember Marley?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I have 10 videos and they're ready.
I'm gonna wait.
I said, get them up there right now.
Said, nope, that's not what you want to do. Because this is the thing. As you put out videos, you're going to get feedback from people. And even if not a ton of people are watching them, it doesn't matter. You're still going to get feedback. You're going to look at yourself after you posted the video and you're like, you know what, I could do this a little bit different. I could do this a little bit different. But if you blindly just make 10, 15 videos, not knowing what the feedback is or how you even feel about putting the videos out there, you may find that after 10, 15 videos, oh, I should have gone in this direction after the first video. Or this is the topic. The second video you put out, you get a lot of attention on. You're like, I could have just followed up with that for videos 3 through 12. Do you see what I mean? So that's where you want to just focus on implementing. The speed of implementation is important, and not thinking too much about the strategy in the beginning. The beginning is getting comfortable, getting the information out there, gauging the audience, and then seeing how you can keep hammering in on a certain niche or in a certain direction.
Yeah. And while he's looking, I just want to say it's a huge accomplishment to get your first video up. Even if it's horrible, even if you get like 4 views and not a single like or comment, it really is huge. Me and him would run across people all the time that have all these ideas, all these plans, all this stuff. We're always like, let's see a video. Let's see it. I don't have 45 in the backlog yet. I'm not comfortable. No, you got to just get that first one up, because it'll give you that momentum that me and him talk about. And it's an inevitable thing anyways. So yeah. We've sort of hammered that one.
A couple of people asking about coaching practices, coaching business. The best thing, a lot of the questions I see being asked are questions that Victor answers in the group, in the Accelerator course, when he talks about how to get high paying or how to get clients consistently. So we could go into detail on that here, but honestly, you just got to go into the Facebook Accelerator group in Kajabi, and you'll be able to see the answers to those. how to do it and all of that information. He gives his actual strategy, which makes all the difference in the world.
They're just like basic ones that
yeah,
I
I
answer.
see people say, oh, I think someone was answering someone else's question about it, saying, oh, they talk about that in the membership or in the group, but I also have seen 2 or 3 other questions about coaching practices. And
I see.
It's stuff that I know you mentioned. Here's a question from Divine. It says, what is the best way to create videos for a program people can purchase? How do you choose what to make the program about? And how do you see more results from do you see more results from a $37 product at the beginning than increasing, I'm guessing you meant to say increasing the price. So what is the best way to create videos for a program people can purchase? The best way to go about it is to first off create the content that you're going to be making the video about so that you start to get the audience. A lot of people focus on the program before they focus on building the audience. And it's not like if you build it, then they come. It's more so build free content that gets people in the door, and then what you can do is kind of what we were talking about at the beginning of this, which is a strategy you can do is you can start a list, which means you start getting emails for people that are interested in it before you even create the program to know and establish that it's something people are going to be interested in. So you can do that, and then what you want to do is, there's stuff we're going to be talking about in the 2nd and 3rd month of the coaching as well. We'll show you exactly how to more so go through the process of making courses and stuff like that. We'll share more information with that as well. But in general, is there anything you wanted to add? Or
yeah, just like he said, like even for this, what we're doing here, we, in a sense, tested to see if this would work for us. We didn't just blindly do it. Like I started our YouTube channel here under a different name like over a year ago because I wanted to do this a year ago, but I could see that there wasn't really enough people interested. So now a year later, we sort of started putting these videos up again. We got the inspiration, and we built a bit of an email list, and we sort of had our little test we ran. And we're like, yeah, we're gonna go forward with this rather than like, you know, doing what he said, just like thinking of an idea and then assuming people will like it. Maybe they will. A lot of times they won't.
Here's a way to know the sign too. I see the question was like, how do you know what topic to make it about? What's the question that you get asked a lot from people when you're making the free content? What question is people asking you about? Because that will help you decide what to make it about. So for example, I made those morning routine videos. People will be like, how should I meditate in the morning? How do I meditate? What kind of meditation technique do you use? How do you visualize? What affirmations do you say? All of these questions I'd get in those videos, and those videos got a lot of views, so I'm like, okay, people are interested in this. Then I made a program about it. Then I have a life purpose course. People are like, I don't know my life purpose. How do I find out what that is? Blah, blah, blah. I heard that all the time, so okay, make a course on that. So you kind of gauge it, because if you're in like for example, someone that's in the EFT niche, maybe they're making EFT videos, and someone's like, hey, you keep getting the same questions. How do I need something I can follow. I find it hard to implement this. Maybe they can make a course that helps people to implement it on a daily basis and makes it a daily type habit. So you make meditations that help people use EFT on a daily type basis, and it's like an easy program for that. You see, you figure it out as you go. The content comes first though, and then off of that comes the audience, which will then let you know what their problems are, or you can gauge what their problems are and make programs for it. But first should always be the content to growing the audience. Here's a good question from Sue. How do you keep coming up with content when your mind feels blocked? I'm worried I won't be able to keep up with the ideas. So the thing I'll say, I'm sure you have something to say about this as well. There's something about priming yourself every day to make videos. Sometimes in our mind, we're thinking, oh, I'm blocked, how do I go about this? When you the more you make videos, the easier this gets. And I'm saying this as the guy that's made like 500 videos in a row. The first month, me making daily videos, it was pretty hard because my body wasn't used to it. My mind wasn't used to priming myself to get into the flow state. But the more I did it, the easier I got. And that is what made it easier as I went. So just know it gets easier as you go. Make yourself a commitment to do it, and it will be easier and easier as you do it. But focus on the value you give to other people. Focus on not you. Focus on the other people, and it will get so much easier. I'm thinking about how can I add value to my audience? How can I add value? What are people interested in? What do people want to know more about that I can help them with? And the information just comes through. I remember I gave my first, kind of off topic a little bit, I gave one of my first talks ever. I gave at this place in LA called Bull Meditation with another YouTuber. And when I did it, I thought that I was going to get caught up and not know what to say and stuff like that. But the more I went in my head, the more that I felt blocked, but the more I focused on adding value to other people, it's like the information just channeled through. I don't even know how to explain it. The same way, focus on the adding value, it'll just channel through you. You won't have to think so much about it. But did you have something that you wanted to add as well?
Yeah, basically that is one quick thing to add to what I agree with what he said. I've also like being an embodiment of what you talk about. Like me, I read a lot of books and I practice what I preach and I kind of live what I share about. And then just from living a life sort of in alignment with what I'm sharing about, I naturally get inspiration and ideas, or I'll have a situation I'll go through and I'll think, that would be a good video. The more, like he said, you get into the rhythm of the habitual sharing content, the more you're like, you notice ideas. It's more of a concern of the mind, like, well, I have ideas for this week. What about next week? Oh, I got nothing. You haven't lived your next week. You haven't lived your life yet. You probably will get ideas as you just keep going forward.
And honestly, Victor is very good at this. I'm trying to incorporate more stories into my videos, but I'll be sitting there at lunch with Victor, and we'll be talking about our lives, and Victor will go, there we go. That's the next concept for my energy update, because it's a trend that he's seeing in what's happening. So he's like, that's something I'm going to talk about. There's times, I remember that time that I got pulled over or whatever, and we were talking about how that was like a sign. That was guidance from like my higher self or from my guides that was showing me to not, because I was trying to rush something, so it was a sign to slow down. But Victor heard about that. We ate at a place in Vegas, and he's like, I'm gonna put that, and he put that in the notes on his phone, and he made a video about it the next day. That was one of the points in the video. You can also draw in your daily life things that relate and kind of keep a memory bank. I know a lot of people that do that. They have notes in their phone, and they're like, that's a great idea. I do it too. I'm like, last night I was thinking, right before I went to bed, I was like, that's a good idea. There was a video I was thinking about. It was like I forget what it was, but I went and I scribbled it on a piece of paper before I went to bed because it just came to me. Write stuff down as well, so that will help.
Yeah. And then one thing Aaron does, like before he goes to bed, he'll write down ideas. And so he basically, it's like, you'll naturally get ideas as you go through, but he sets the intention that every night I'm going to prime myself to get ideas, and therefore he does.
And in the morning, I hack my sleep, and in the morning, it's like I'm primed and ready to go. But I share that on the YouTube course as well. I share my process for how I set the intention the night before with the video topic, go to bed, and I simply know that I'm going to have more information about that in the morning. That's how I download my information. You can use that as well for creative work and wherever you want. Here's another question from Natasha, Waking Up with Natasha. What do you think about offering a free course and using that to start to build your clientele? That works.
Yes.
There are a lot of people that do that. Now, in general, depends on how deep you want to go. For a lead magnet, it's good to make it a quick win. That's what they say. Make it a quick win. Maybe don't make it like a 6-month course or anything, but make it like a little course that shows you how to do X, Y, Z. That's a very good lead magnet. That's something that I've considered doing. I found, though, that quick wins are also good, but you can definitely do that. I would say just make it don't put maybe years of effort into it. Make it something that you could still make in maybe a day or two. But yeah, for sure, that could be very powerful as well. We're going to talk more about lead magnets in month 2, though. And
good options to go with. That's a good one, but we'll talk about other ones that maybe are even less time-consuming as well.
Yes. Yeah. So with all that being said, we've been here about 1.5 hours now. We're going to always gauge it with you guys. We see great interaction with you guys. A couple closing remarks. We want to let you know that you are all doing amazing. I've seen the content, I've seen your videos, and it's so impressive because you are learning fast. Everyone I look at, I'm like, wow, like this, I can feel it. I can feel the momentum. I can feel the potential. The only little bit of criticism I would say, and it's not really even criticism, but it is watch the videos that you guys got with the bonuses when you came in, because some of the things that I'm seeing with the YouTube videos, they're amazing, but they could use a little bit of work maybe with the title or the tags or the description or whatever it is, but that's in the Facebook Accelerator course. Some people are asking questions about that of the coaching business. Victor explains all of that. So if you find yourself with questions, you can also go in there and you'll get the exact strategy that we use, which is what makes, it's like the secret sauce in a way. So keep going, keep motivated. This is about consistency. The more that you do this, the easier it gets. And the more you do it, the more depth that you get and the more momentum you build. So this is really about just believing in yourself, trusting the process. When I went daily on YouTube, the month that I started to grow, if I would have given up on day 6 of going daily, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be, in front of you helping you with this right now. And I wouldn't have had that growth. You got to stay consistent. You got to believe in yourself. Know that it is possible for you. You can do this with much smaller than you think as far as the size of the audience. You don't need 100,000 subs. It can happen, but you really just need to focus on the adding value. And from there, we'll focus on how to convert them into clientele, into services, and all of that good stuff. So yeah, cool. If you have anything else you want to...
Yeah. Just, I know in the beginning there can be a lot of like mental tension and frustration trying to implement all the myriad of different things you're learning. And my recommendation for you is to be aware of that. When you find yourself getting like mentally knotted up and stressed out, to always step back. A lot of the nerves, a lot of the how, a lot of the details will sort themselves out when you allow like your greater being. I know it might sound abstract, but your greater being to come through. You can rely on like the higher aspects of yourself. If you can just get out of the way, it will sort of like pummel itself out there. And then if you can like stay more in the creative flow, as he said, proceed from the intention of delivering value rather than I gotta figure all this out, your genius and brilliance will come out. But it can be hard because you're learning stuff, and there is a time to learn and to calculate and to analyze your data. But my essential advice is to try to stay in the creative, fun space as much as you possibly can, because that's where you're gonna really move yourself forward.
Yeah, one little quick thing as well. I see some people asking which bonus videos. The bonuses are the courses that when you log into Kajabi, what you'll see is you will see the videos on the YouTube Accelerator course, the 6-figure coaching business part, and then also the business starter kit. That's all when you log into the members part of the group. That's actually bonuses that you received for signing up when you did. So those are what we mean by the bonus videos. Those are all there for you to watch whenever you want. Honestly, no joke, there is thousands of dollars worth of value in those 3 bonuses that we threw in there. So definitely focus on that. We want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you for sharing your energy with us. We love, after doing this today, I really love doing this. This was a lot of fun. So
yeah.
We're going to look forward to the next one. We're going to look for as many ways as we can add value to you. Keep active in the Facebook group. Keep on this path, and you'll find that it rewards you. What you put in is what you get out of it. So once again, we want to say thank you, peace, much love, and namaste.
Namaste.